Hey folks, I'm Dieter Melhorn. Come along with me as my son gets a shot at his first buck of the season. Well, we got out in the woods. It was mid-October. It was a damp morning. You'll notice in some of this footage, the lens is kind of foggy. There was a lot of mist and condensation that morning. It wasn't really so much foggy as it was just very misty. There was a lot of water in the air, so the lens had some condensation on that, so I apologize for that in advance. But we got out in the woods. We got set up on the ground. The place we were hunting was a food plot, a really lush, good-looking food plot. The problem was the stand that the club has at that food plot is right on top of it, and it's also right where deer go in and out of the woods, so you have to be super quiet. It's super easy to get picked off by the least little sound or the least little bad drift in the wind. So our plan was to set up about 60 yards up the road from the food plot. It's a pretty wide road coming into this food plot, and you can see it. It gave us about a 140-yard shot to the back of it, so a shot well within range of Grayson's shooting abilities and his 7mm 08 rifle. Around 9:30, I looked in the far back corner of the food plot and I seen a deer step out. Made a step to the side, looked at me, I realized it was a 1.5-year-old deer. I got Grayson just ready to look at it. He was looking dead up the road at us, and we were backlit basically where we were sitting, so it was kind of odd. I knew he couldn't see us. He was looking up that way for some reason, and about that time, a doe starts to step out literally 5 yards in front of our blind.
There's one right in front of us. Don't move, don't move, don't move, don't move.
Now normally folks, when you're hunting from the ground and you get a deer that close to you, it's game over. You're done. You're gonna get busted, you're gonna get picked off. Somehow though, the deer didn't see us. Now we had one heck of a good setup. The only thing that was visible was our heads. So maybe that helped. We also had the wind in our face. We had a pretty good wind coming to us. But the biggest thing we had going for us was she looked back in the other direction and she saw that buck and got focused on him. When she comes out, I almost thinks she's gonna cross the road and go into the woods. She turns around and jumps out of the road, but stands right on the side, right out of camera angle. You can't really see her, but she's still standing there. The buck's still looking up, and we're like, man, what is going on? All right, folks, normally I wouldn't leave this shot up this long, but if you'll notice, that buck's not moving. It almost looks like a decoy standing in the back of the field. He is staying very, very still and looking. I'm leaving the video up because a lot of new hunters don't realize just how long a buck will stand in one place looking and watching. This is how it's so easy for them to pick you off when they hear that noise or smell that smell and wait for you to move. This deer stood there for a long, long time. One thing to remember, a buck ain't got no place to go. They ain't got no appointments, no place they gotta be. Time is on their side. I'm gonna leave this video up and let it roll here, folks. This is totally unedited, uncut at this point. I want you to see how long that buck stands there. If you're new to hunting, this may surprise you. I've sat there and watched deer stand perfectly still for 4 to 5 minutes watching something going on. We stayed still. The buck walked off, went into the woods. She stayed inside the woods for a little bit longer. Finally, she came out, crossed the road, and went into the woods and left. So at this point, we're thinking, man, this was really cool. That was a close encounter. We got to see a buck, not a bad morning. And I look down in the food plot and I see something.
How big he is. If you've got a shot, hey, right.
That's a good buck. That's a good one.
Meh. Meh. Meh.
Will he turn?
So good. Oh, he's a beaut.
He's okay. See if he turns. That's not a good shot right there.
Wouldn't you know it, another buck was coming directly from where our box stand was set up. Now, I got to thinking afterwards, perhaps that's what the other buck was looking at. Perhaps the doe smelled that buck, and that's why she was so comfortable staying where she was. Don't really know what was going on, but when we saw this one, we needed to make a decision if we were going to take a shot.
He's a decent deer. If he takes a step left, he might get it.
Grayson got his binoculars up, took a look, and he said, wow, Dad, that's a pretty good looking buck. The way it works in our club is we get a young hunter gets one undersized buck, any size they want to shoot. Up to this point, Grayson's killed some decent deer, some 6s and some 7s, and we kind of made a commitment this year that he was going to take an 8-point or bigger. And I looked at that deer, got a good look at it with the binoculars. Appeared to be a mainframe 8, decent looking deer, nice uniform rack. I said, take it if we get a chance.
Go ahead and take it off just in case. Okay, that's okay. That's okay. That's what makes it fun. He's looking,
Now the deer really wasn't that cooperative. It did absolutely what it should have been doing if it knew we were there. Its butt was toward us, and it was looking back over its shoulder at us for a long time.
he did just like that other buck. That other buck stood there forever.
Well, the deer started walking away, started heading toward the woods, so I tried to get it to stop. Now in this situation, sure, you could take a shot. You would drill right through the deer. Some people call it a Texas heart shot. It's not the best way to kill a deer. Usually it's pretty effective and will kill them. But I had a good feeling that if we just waited and were patient, this deer would turn sideways, or we'd get it to turn sideways so he could get a good, clean, ethical shot on it.
You got him, take him.
I drilled him. I drilled that sucker. I drilled him. He dove into the ground. He dove into the ground.
I think he shot one.
I put those crosshairs right on him. When he went broadside, those crosshairs were on him. I was like, oh, it's time now. I love this gun. This gun didn't even kick. This gun just goes like this. Boom. That's all it did. That's all it did. That's all it did. I think I drilled that sucker. Hey, look, did you see him?
It looked like he went down.
We can watch the video back.
Oh, it's true.
I'm shaking. Look at me. I'm shaking so much. I'm not exaggerating. This is a special hunt. My dad woke me up because he saw a deer, but it was a little spike, and then I couldn't move because the doe came walking up the road apparently, and it went into the woods because it saw the buck. And then the doe crossed over, and I came up, and then I went back to lay down, and my dad said, "Oh, a buck," and I looked at the horn. I saw the antlers, and it looks like a good 8-pointer. Oh, this is cold and excitement.
We actually both got the shakes right now. I'm kind of shaking. He's shaking. We had deer all over us for a second. It's crazy.
This trigger, my dad said the trigger's heavy but it's actually not that heavy. Like, I pulled this part back, and I didn't know when it was going off. I was like, It's like now, but like the trigger doesn't have to move that much to go off, so it kind of caught me by surprise a little bit. If I killed that deer, if it dropped right there, I'm gonna love this 708. I'm gonna love it so much. So this is crazy.
I'll tell you, after he squeezed that shot off, we were both shaking. If you look at the video, you can see it shaking. I was shaking as much as he was. That right there, folks, is what keeps you coming back and keeps you hunting. It's primal. You can't describe it to somebody who doesn't hunt. It's something that is just in you. It's in your blood. That wasn't the biggest deer in the world, but it was a deer. It was the first deer of the season. And I'm telling you, folks, it will get your blood a-pumping. It will get the adrenaline a-pumping. It will give you the shakes when the adrenaline starts to come out of your system. It's the greatest feeling in the world.
We're gonna go look at it?
As soon as I quit shaking.
That's hard to do.
It's not even my deer and I'm shaking. Look at that camera, good God. Adrenaline is what, it's wonderful.
Dad said, look at it, and I was like, oh, I was like, I can shoot that right there, and it was about to walk off into the woods, like, meh, meh, and it looked back, and that they had a thick neck. I'll say that's for sure, it had a thick neck.
Alright guys, I think that deer went down. Looked like he lunged down forward, tail flew straight up, it looked like he went down. I can't see it from here, but I think we're gonna walk down there and take a look. At least see if we got blood.
My legs feel warm now. My fingers are like ice. Man, I think I drilled him.
I kind of looked around a little bit, walked around the edge to take a look, and sure enough, I looked up in the woods and I saw white.
Walk around over this way.
Oh, wow.
Huh?
They're alive.
Yep, there he is.
Where? I want to cry now.
He didn't go far at all.
I thought I missed him.
He didn't go far at all.
I thought I did. Do I need to put a bullet in his finger?
No, just poke him in the butt. Got him. Back down.
Hey, where'd I hit him at?
What
Oh,
is-
right there. That's the enter one. Here you go.
Congratulations, son. It's a good looking 8.
That's an 8.
Yeah, he got a
1, 2,
busted
3.
time. He got a busted. Guess.
Hear the air coming out.
Nice.
He's got a big body too. So then, where's the blood trail?
I don't know. I don't know if he's got any.
At this point, I don't really care.
He may have not had time to bleed. Yeah, you broke the ice.
Well, my dad woke me up saying, there's a deer, and it was a little buck. And then a doe came out, and I couldn't, my dad told me not to move because it was gonna get scared and run off. And then, well, you know, goes across the road, and then this big boy stepped out in the food plot.
So were you shaking?
Yes. Oh yeah. I was looking at him with the rifle, and I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And the gun wouldn't even stand still. Then it came broadside, and I took a shot.
Well, as always, when we're blessed with food for the freezer, we gave thanks to God and got to dragging to get that deer back to camp. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you learn a little something on how we hunt and our lifestyle of being in the outdoors. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Leave any comments you have down below because we love to hear from you. Give us a thumbs up. We look forward to seeing you in the woods and on the water.